You had Governor Walz in coach mode today, traveling across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Let me share with you one of the speeches he gave where he says Donald Trump and these MAGAs, they're just trying to make you feel pessimistic and bad about yourself. Let's focus on the facts. Here, watch this.
This is going to be door-to-door, phone call to phone call. It's going to be engaging people who it is a deliberate effort by some people to make them believe that our political system is broken, to make them believe that things are pessimistic. My God, every time I hear Donald Trump give a speech, it's like the next screenplay for Mad Max or something. They're rooting against America. They do not believe in the exceptionalism of this country. They do not believe in the people who built this country. They simply want to complain about them. And by you coming here and talking neighbor to neighbor, that's what inspires people. My wife always talks about this. She said, I don't read the paper to see the movie reviews. I ask people that I know what they think about it, and they tell me that's the same thing that's going on here. And I think all of you in this room, it's not hyperbole to say, this election could very well hinge on this county here and this field office here and the folks that we get out. That is an awesome responsibility, but it's also an awesome opportunity.
Well, then compare that to what Donald Trump was recording videos of himself saying today where he says, you need to panic, there's going to be a depression, I told you. Here, watch what Donald Trump posted. This is a selfie video from Donald Trump playing.
Kamala crash. We're going to have a crash like 1929 if she gets in. It will not be pretty. Thank you.
You know, Donald Trump's talking about himself there, right? The Trump media stock is down 74% since March. 74%. It is tanking right now. It's lost over $300 million. I'll do a whole nother video about that. Here, Governor Walz is videotaped ordering donuts the correct way, unlike J.D. Vance, who does not know how to order donuts. Watch Governor Walz here. Play the clip.
And then maybe
peanut butter, original. There's a big popularity.
we're a big fan of pumpkin.
We're pumpkin.
Pumpkin?
Yeah, big
We're
fan.
pumpkin people.
All right.
All right, I think that's what we're gonna do.
I think get that one and that one maybe.
All right.
Peaches are really good here too.
Peaches too. That's what I said.
Yes.
The peaches.
I could balance it out to have a nutritional diet. I said, look at me. I have no problem picking out donuts and things. So, well, it's fantastic.
And contrast that to J.D. Vance yelling at his dogs and calling his dogs idiotic for barking at an ambulance. This is some new video that surfaced of J.D. Vance yelling at his dogs. Play this clip.
Why I care about the things that I care about. I think you may very well hear dogs howling right now, which is, I'm actually home today, which is good and unusual sometimes, but our dogs often howl at ambulances that are passing by, because they're idiotic, but whatever. Anyway, so,
You can't make this stuff up, folks. Then you have Vice President Kamala Harris speaking in front of a packed crowd in New Hampshire. Here she is talking about common sense, gun control to take weapons of war off the street. Here, play this clip.
So before I begin, I do want to say a few words about this tragic shooting that took place this morning in Winder, Georgia. We're still gathering information about what happened, but we know that there were multiple fatalities and injuries. And, you know, our hearts are with all the students, the teachers, and their families, of course. And we are grateful to the first responders and the law enforcement that were on the scene. But this is just a senseless tragedy on top of so many senseless tragedies. And it's just outrageous that every day in our country, in the United States of America, that parents have to send their children to school worried about whether or not their child will come home alive. It's senseless. It is, we've got to stop it. And we have to end this epidemic of gun violence in our country once and for all. You know, it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. So we will continue, of course, to send our prayers and our thoughts to the families and all those who were affected, including, you know, I'm going off script right now, but listen, I mean, you know, at the last year, I started a college tour. And I traveled our country meeting with our young leaders, right? And so it was college-age young leaders. So I did trade schools, colleges, universities, community colleges. By the way, I love Gen Z. I just love Gen Z. Right? But I'll tell you, one of the things I asked every time I went to the auditorium, and it would be filled with these young leaders, students, and I'd ask them, raise your hand if at any point between kindergarten and 12th grade you had to endure an active shooter drill. And for the young leaders who are here who are raising their hand, I'm telling you, every time the auditorium was packed and almost every hand went up. You know, a lot of us, I'll speak about myself, you know, we had, well, I grew up in California, earthquake drills, we had fire drills, but our kids are sitting in a classroom where they should be fulfilling their God-given potential, and some part of their big, beautiful brain is concerned about a shooter busting through the door of the classroom. It does not have to be this way. It does not have to be this way.
Compare that to the selfie video that Donald Trump made of himself today, whining about his social media engagement or something like that. Here, play this clip.
We have the greatest social media program in history. There's never been anything like it, not even close. And yet today I read where Kamala is beating us. Well,
there's another clip of Vice President Kamala Harris focused on gun control. Play this clip.
But I'll tell you, one of the things that I asked every time I went to the auditorium, and it would be filled with these young leaders, students, and I'd ask them, raise your hand if at any point between kindergarten and 12th grade you had to endure an active shooter drill. And for the young leaders who are here who are raising their hand, I'm telling you, every time the auditorium was packed and almost every hand went up. You know, a lot of us, I'll speak about myself, you know, we had, well, I grew up in California, earthquake drills, we had fire drills, but our kids are sitting in a classroom where they should be fulfilling their God-given potential, and some part of their big, beautiful brain is concerned about a shooter busting through the door of the classroom. It does not have to be this way. It does not have to be this way.
Should be noted also that Goldman Sachs just came out with a report today saying that Vice President Kamala Harris would be far better for the growth of our economy, the growth of our GDP by multiples than Donald Trump's disastrous plan. That's Goldman Sachs, folks, as Mark Cuban posts money, 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 money. Let's show you this. Vice President Kamala Harris detailing her plans for small business tax credits. And doesn't this just feel good to watch someone talk about policy and not Hannibal Lecter or electrocution over being eaten by sharks and saying, wow, 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 windmills and going, making weird noises like Donald Trump does. Like, she's detailing policies. And then, by the way, if you don't like these policies, then we can have debates and discussions about how to improve the country better than these policies. But she's outlining like tangible, specific things that she wants to do, unlike whatever the heck is going on with Trump and MAGA and what I call these traveling fascist WWE circus things. Here, play this clip.
And so all of this is why, as president, one of my highest priorities will be to strengthen America's small businesses. And here I am in New Hampshire to announce a few elements of my plan to do that. So first, we're going to help more small businesses and innovators get off the ground, okay? Now, I'm setting what some, I'm sure, are going to call a very ambitious goal, but you know what? I think we should admire ambition in each other. So I want to see 25 million new small business applications by the end of my first term. And to help achieve this, we will lower the cost of starting a new business. So here's the thing. On average, it costs about $40,000 to start a new business in America. That is a great financial barrier for a lot of folks, and it can hold entrepreneurs back. And the current tax deduction for a startup is just $5,000, okay? So then you gotta make up the delta there. Gotta figure out how you're gonna do that. Not everyone has access to that kind of wealth and capital. So, part of my plan is we will expand the tax deduction for startups to $50,000. It's essentially a tax cut for starting a small business. Second, my plan will help existing small businesses grow. We will provide low and no interest loans to small businesses that want to expand. And we will, and this is very important, cut the red tape that can make starting and growing a small business more difficult than it needs to be. More difficult than it needs to be. For example, we will make it cheaper and easier for small businesses to file their taxes. Similar to how individuals can take a standard deduction. You know, I said to my team, kind of like, now I'm going to date myself again because they no longer do it, but kind of like, you remember the 1040 EZ? Like that kind of idea, right? Like, let's just take away some of the bureaucracy in the process to make it easier for people to actually do something that's going to benefit our entire economy. Third, my plan will invest in small businesses and innovators throughout America. And here's why. We know that talent exists everywhere in our country, from rural towns to city centers. But not everyone has access to the financing, to venture capital, or expert advice. It's not that they don't have the skills. It's not that they don't have the work ethic. It's access to these resources. So under my plan, we will expand access to venture capital. We will support innovation hubs and business incubators. And we will increase federal contracts with small businesses. And we will have a particular focus on small businesses in rural communities, like right here in New Hampshire. Finally, my plan will make our tax code more fair while also prioritizing investment and innovation. So let us be clear. Billionaires and big corporations must pay their fair share in taxes. Here's the thing, it's just not right that those who can most afford it are often paying a lower tax rate than our teachers and our nurses and our firefighters. It's just not right. It's just not.
Now at the front page of Drudge, Republicans secretly want Donald Trump to lose. Goldman Sachs says that we'll be better off, our economy will be better off with Vice President Kamala Harris. Republican leaders who are still identifying as MAGA, some of them mostly believe that we'll still be better off with Kamala Harris. You take a look at the latest CNN poll, Vice President Kamala Harris has a commanding lead with likely female voters. And then there was an indictment today of Russian spies who have been paying right-wing media companies, or at least one right-wing media company, to try to sow division in our country and to take away our joy and to push talking points to pit Americans against Americans, which is what Donald Trump wants to happen. There you have it. Hit subscribe. 4 million on our way together. Let's do it.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.